So, a lot of you guys are hitting number 4 and just looking at it and going, what this shit. So let me say it. Well, I've already said it a couple times, but let's all talk about this. What did you guys get for, some of you guys might be finishing this up, but what did you guys get for these? For A, it was
1, 0, 8, 0, 8, 0. 1, 2, 4, 2, 1. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1.
Okay, so the centers are all the same. All the ways to measure center are the same. But I can see that they're not the same list of data. So I'm not measuring what's really different about them. So I need, not only do I need to know where the middle is. So what I've been telling people is, if there are a group of people right in the middle of the room, and I'm like, well, that's not going to work out. You need to spread out. So they would start to go away from the middle. They'd spread out. So if they went further and further away, they're getting more and more spread out. So which data set is the most spread out? The most data is away from the middle.
D.
D. See this one? See how one went even further away there, one went even further away there?
Got some 3s in there.
One went further, one went further away. No. So here, there's a bunch. There are 2 people that were like, yeah, screw you people. And they went all the way to the walls. I don't know, do you guys? So there's a group of people in the middle that said spread out. So one person went that way, one person went that way, and 8 stayed in the middle. I'm like, well, that sort of was what I said. And then here, 4 people stayed, and now 2 people went there, 2 people went there. Okay, that's getting more spread out. And here, it looks like one person went up here, one person went down. Now they're a little more spread out. Here, one more person went further away, one more person went further away. This is where they get the most away from the middle. You guys with me? So that's the number 4 relates to something we're going to talk about next week, which is how to measure the spread of the data. So let me tell you this. You guys all know about, I still remember the first time I heard about this website, way back when. Rate My Professors. I remember when we heard about it, and then the next day I looked at it, and a lot of my colleagues had gone in and rated themselves, and you could just tell. He's the essence of the essence. That's my favorite one. It's chilly here. So nowadays, let me see if you guys understand what I'm about to say. If I don't get some bad reviews, I'm not doing a good job. Because there are bad students. I want them to review me poorly because I don't want to be the teacher they want me to be if they're bad students. All right? So I'd love to get some good reviews, but I need some bad reviews too to make sure that I'm doing my job. Nowadays, especially. Okay. I don't know if you know, there's another website that thankfully you have to pay for, but grade distributions are public domain knowledge. There is a website that will tell you, for a teacher, what grades they give on average. Ooh, intriguing. So, unfortunately, people go to the one that gives everybody a freaking A, and then they take me again, and I'm the asshole in the middle. Right? If you're a really good student, you want the one that doesn't give everybody a freaking A. Now, let's say that you have these 2 teachers. They are completely the same in every way. They have, except for one way. So they even have the same, they both give an average of a C. The median is a C. The mode is a C, just like the 13s, right? You guys with me? So they give a C most of the time. It's the median, it's the mean, so forth. But this one gives B to D. Let's say you're at university where D passes. Right? When you go to university, D's are a passing grade. So just think about that next time you're driving over a bridge. So B to D for this teacher, A to F for this teacher. Remember, D is passing. When would you want to take the B to D teacher? If you suck. If you know you're going to just suck at this class. You're like, at least I can definitely, they never give an F. They pass everybody. I'll definitely get a D. Okay, that's fine. And I took somebody that was like this. I'm still bitter about it. I got the highest grade, it was a B. He's like, God, even God would have gotten an A minus if they took this class. This one, A through F. When are you going to take this one? When you know you're going to kick that class's ass. You're like, give me that freaking A. Don't give me that B just because you're A. Do you guys understand? So just knowing the middles. C is the most given grade. It's the average grade. That wasn't enough to differentiate. If I know the spread of the data, I can then figure out which way to go based on my situation. So those two numbers, the middle and the spread, summarize data the best. Tell me where the middle is and tell me how spread out the data gets from that middle. I have a really good idea what the data looks like. Okay, all right, I like it. So now, that's what's called, just in case you've heard of this before, it's called the Standard Deviation. So we're going to talk about that on Wednesday. Right now we're going to finish up the ideas on this. Don't look at that slide yet necessarily. Let me talk about percentiles. We'll do that side and then we'll probably call it a day. Anybody ever seen percentiles somewhere? Percentiles.
Are we doing the backside or just? No?
We're talking about it, and then we're going to do the backside. So don't necessarily look at that yet. I'm not going to talk about that data yet. Have you guys ever taken the SAT? Anybody? I think you still get percentiles in your report. So you're the 80th percentile in this, you're the 98th percentile here. Guys, so if you get the 98th percentile, does that mean the same thing as a 98 on the test, like a grade of 98? What would a 98th percentile mean?
That's where most people score. 98% of people score.
98% of people scored below you. So you want to have a high percentile for SAT. For golf, you want to have a low percentile if you know golf. So for an SAT score, if you're in the 80th percentile, what percentage scored higher than you? 20% scored higher than you. 80% of the people that took that test scored lower than you. Now, one reason they do the percentile for the SAT and not like an absolute score, you guys see how that's a relative score? So all the people that took that test, 80% scored below you. Why would they do that? Because from one day they give the SAT and then they give it again, is it the same SAT? Is it the same test? Hell no. You got photographic memory people, they're like, dude, I got you. Here's the questions. Go take it. No, they changed the damn test in between giving it. You guys with me? So they could randomly make the test harder or easier in general each time. So if they make the whole test a little harder, everybody should kind of score lower. You're still relatively in the same place. So if you would have gotten an 80 percentile on one test, you're going to get an 80 percentile on the next test because everybody moved, right? Does that make sense? It's sort of like curving grades in a class. It's relative to what everybody did. I like it. And I do curve grades if I have to, just so you know. Yay! And I don't let somebody break the curve, by the way. Do you know what that means?
A 1%.
Everybody makes 60s, and this one guy in the back makes 100. Never opened his book. He's taken it twice already. That's why he's got 100 on the first test. You're like, God damn it! But I basically take him out, curve everybody, and then put him back in. So I still curve grades, even if one or two people got a grade there. You guys with me a little bit? Okay, enough of that. So how in the world, let me give you an example that has to be small, but the smaller the set of data, the less sense percentile idea kind of makes, but it's easier to kind of explain how they work. We'll get there. I'll show you what I mean. So here's some data here, 11, 12, 15. You'll have to say it as you write it, Jeff. They can see. Oh, yeah. How many do I have so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So whatever this data is, it could be ages, it could be minutes spent doing homework, it could be whatever. Worried about this person. What does your gut tell you the 80th percentile is? Understanding what it means. So here's the 80th percentile. Let me show you the symbols. I mean, this is way too many freaking letters for a math person to write. We are much lazier than that. So we give this the symbol P80. It's not a new exercise craze. So that the big P some number means that percentile. So this is the 80th percentile. What does your gut tell you the 80th percentile is going to be? Okay, and I'll tell you right now, you're going to be wrong, but it's okay. Nothing wrong with that. So I have a vote for 30. Any other votes for anything else? I have a vote for 34. I have a vote for 15. Oh, are you? You're like, let me just move this along, Jeff. All the numbers. All right, just do what you're going to do. Yeah.
30 through 41?
Oh, 30 through 41? That's interesting. Okay, I like it. All right, so all those are wrong, which is fine. Because you're like, don't tell me it's wrong, just tell me how the hell to do it. So the people that said 34, what were you thinking? How many numbers are supposed to be below the answer? 80% are supposed to be, there's 10 numbers, so how many numbers are supposed to be below the answer? 8. How many numbers are supposed to be above the answer, though? 2. Oh, shit, so that can't be right. That looks right for 2, but it's only got 7 below it. So doesn't this sort of feel like median? Median has to have equal amounts above and below it, but if I have 4, oh, shit. So what I have to do here is add these two. I like it. So, and then divide by 2. What's the average at 30 and 34? 32. How many numbers above 32? 2. How many numbers below 32? 8. So 80% below, 20% above. I'll tell you right now, the book has a different, really disgusting formula, which is so unnecessary. If you want to use it, or if you're copying from the solutions and they use it there, well, the second thing is bad, but if you want to use that formula, go ahead.
What was that called?
No. This is the 80th percentile. It was related to the median because I had to go between two numbers to make it work. What's happened? So let me do this again. So the people that said 34, I understand why you said it because there's 8 numbers below it. That's 80% below. That's what 80th percentile means. The people that said 30, maybe you're thinking the other way, 20% above, but then there's only 70% below. Oh, shit. So I have to go right in the middle, so there's 20% above this and 80% below this. I like it. So now watch. Yes, ma'am.
So what if the numbers were 30 and 45?
You still average them. 32.5 would have been the percentile. You still average the two. Just like the median doesn't care what these are, you just average them. So the average of 30 and 34 is 32. If this was 35, the average would have been 32.5. That would have been the answer. So here, with this number, with these numbers, the answer is 32. Let me show you the work behind this, because are you going to get 10 numbers? No, you're going to get more. So you have to know how to do this in general. So here's the steps to use. First step, so to find P80, there's 2 steps. First step is, where's the answer? Second step is, go get the answer. Always. So now let's see if this makes sense. To get to the 80th percentile, I want to pass 80% of the data to start with. That's a good first guess. It's sort of like our first little guess. So what's 80% of 10? If my list was 20 data points, I would do 80% of 20. I don't always do times 10 here. Okay. So the first step is take the percentile of how long your list is. I want to go, if I go 80% of the way into the data, that should be about where the 80th percentile is. Say again.
Like a definition.
All right, so if you like everything with symbols, the first step is take take k over 100 times n, and then the second step is go get that.
Go get that?
Yes. I love it. All right, now watch. So the way I teach is to show you examples of how things work. Just wait till I get to the end, and then ask a question. So what is 80% of 10? 8. Right, this is 0.8 times 10, 8. If that number, the answer is not the 8th number. If that number is a whole number, you average it with the next one, which is exactly what we did. So if I came out to 6, I would average the 6th and 7th number. If it came out to 2, I would average the 2nd and 3rd number. You guys are with me? So if this first step is a whole number, you average that one with the next one. So the 8th number and the 9th number. So here I go, get the answer, average those two. So this means average 8th and 9th. What's the average of those two? It's 32, what we already got. I love it. Beautiful. That's what we're going to do next. I like it. Cool. Sometimes to capture the idea of what to do is not easy in generalizations. So I give a couple examples that covers everything that could happen and that tells you exactly what to do. So here's one thing. If the percentile comes out to a whole number position, you average that with the next one. That kind of jives with what we did up there to make it make sense. So what if I ask for P16? What would the first step be? 16% of 10. So it's 0.16 times 10 is 0.6. So whole number means you're going to average that with the next one. Anything else, you round up and take that number. So 1.6 rounds up to 2. So the answer is going to be the second number. What is the second number? 12. I like it. So P16 would be 12. Was the answer I got to this a whole number? No. If it's a whole number, I average that with the next one. Anything else, I round up and take that number. Yes, beautiful. If I got a 1.2 here, round up to 2. If I got a 1.07, round up to 2. Yes, good question. Yes?
You're not using the number itself, that's more of like the place.
This is why I try to tell you the first step isn't an answer, it's where it is. Second step is go get it. So where's the answer? 8th and 9th. Go get it. Where's the answer? 2nd. Okay, go get it. Because some people will stop at 2, and I'm like, 2's not even in the list. How could that be the 16th percentile? So this, I rounded up to 2. So the answer is in the second place. What number is in the second place? 12. Now please notice what's got to be true of the list of numbers. Has to be in order. Otherwise you can make anything else you want it to be. So how many things could happen when you're calculating a percentile? 2. Don't make a big deal of it. So if it's a whole number, you average that with the next one. Why? We did an example that shows why that makes sense. If it's anything else, you round up and grab that. Let's do another example. Somebody got these two? Yes. You got a copy done?
Got it.
Okay. If you don't have a copy done, just say no, and then I'll work with it. I'm going to put that. What about P25? Now, there's another name for P25. That's 25% of the way in. So if the football game is 25% of the way done, or the basketball game, or whatever you like, or even if you don't like it, you know. That means how many things have gone by. 25% of the way in, we're done with the first quarter. So another name for P25 is Q1. These mean the same thing. So Q2 would be P50, which is also known as the median. Oh, I like it. The halftime show starts. Hopefully all the clothes stays on. I remember watching that happen. Oh, yeah. Cool.
So the P is the percentile, but what the Q just translates as
Quartile.
one.
It's the first quarter. I don't even like to use the word quartile, but that's what it officially is. But that's the first quarter. Where's the end of the first quarter in the data? Yeah. 25% of the way in. So how would I calculate this? The first step would be 25% of 10. That's a decimal. So the third number is the answer. So the first step tells me where the answer is. And then I go get the answer. What is the answer? 15. So P25 is 15, is Q1. Yes, sir?
Just to make sure, you're doing of 10 because there's only 10 numbers up there. Right?
Beautiful. So if the list was 87 numbers long, you would be doing 25% of 87.
That's 0.25.
That's, why is this 10? Because there's 10 numbers. Please let that make sense. If I have 87 numbers, where is the 20th percentile? It's 20% of 87 in. I go 20% of the way into the list. So of course I'm going to do 20% of 87. So I get that far in. Yes?
So if we have a test and there's like percentile 25, percentile 50, would you want us to do P25, P50, or Q1 and Q2?
Doesn't matter. They both are the same thing. They're interchangeable symbols. I like it. Yes.
It only matters numerically after you find it positionally. So you.
Oh yeah. The answer is going to be after you find that location.
Okay.
So that 3 only means the third position. Has nothing to do with what the actual number answer is. So, yeah. All right. Last idea for the day. So I could figure out P50. I could figure out P75. Real quick. Let me see if you guys get this. P75, we would do 75%, blah, blah, blah. Let me see if you guys get, so easy enough to do it that way. Just do it all the way up. But do you see how far I had to go in? I had to go 3 from the bottom to get P25. So if I go 3 from this side, 1, 2, 3, that's P75. It's going to be symmetric around the middle. If you don't quite get that, do all the work. So to do P75 would be 75% of 10 is 7.5. Round it up to 8. So the answer is the 8th number. What's the 8th number? 30 is the 8th number. But isn't that 1, 2, 3 in from the bottom? Or whatever you want to call that side. Isn't that 1, 2, 3 in? So if you go 3 in from this side for P25, you go 3 in from the other side for P75. They're symmetric. If you don't understand what I just said, you can just do what we just did. The more you know, the less you should have to do. It's one of my mantras. What about P50? All right, so 50% of 10 is 5. What does that mean? Yeah. Average the 5th and the 6th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Average those two. Say again?
Is it always like, so it's, if it's 5, it's always the one?
Beautiful. Whatever you get. If it's a whole number, you average that number with the next.
Got it.
I like it. If I have 4 numbers, where's the median? In between the second and third. What is half of 4? 50% of 4 is 2. Average that with the next one. See, that jives with what we did before for median. So what is the average of the 5th and 6th? 24.5. So this is like I said, this is the last idea. So here it is. This is what we call the 5-number summary. I don't know why somebody just reacted so violently, but we already figured out Q1, Q2, Q3. And then the other 2 pieces of the 5-number summary is the lowest number and the highest number. So is that hard? No. What's the lowest number? 11. Amazing. Q1 we figured out was 15. Q2.
Oh, 24.5.
Q3.
30.
And the highest number?
41.
41. Q1, 15. And the visual for this is the absolute last. We're going to go over this again, don't worry. There's that other side of that deals with everything we just talked about. So we're going to do that next time. Yes? You always round up. Always force it up to the next whole one. So you got 2.0003. You take the third note. Yeah. All right.
We're done?
No. For those of you paying attention, I said one more thing. This is the visual of this. This is what's called, the real name is Box and Whisker Plot. This book calls it Box Plot. It tries to make everything sound so less interesting. Box and Whisker is the official name. What kind of scale do I use to get everything from 11 to 41? Maybe I start at 10 and go by 5s. 15, 28, 25, 38, 35, 40, 45. I know this is crammed in at the end. We're going to do it again. I just want to tie it to what we've already done. And here's what's beautiful about this. Put a line over these numbers on the scale. So like 11 is about right here. Pop. 15. Bam. 24.5. Shwa. 30. No sound effect for you. 41. Yeah. All right. So instead of putting a little dot like you do in algebra, you put a little line above it. Here's the box, the middle 3. Here's the whiskers. It gives you a visual of the spread of the data. You see this all the time in if you're going to go to college and you get one of those college reviews that talks about all the colleges, they tell you the middle 50% of GPAs. What was this one? This is the Q3. What percentage is below Q3? 75. What percentage is below Q1? 25. So what percentage is in the middle here? 75 minus 25. That's the middle 50%. That's your heartland. Ooh, right? So they like to talk about middle 50% SATs, middle 50% GPAs for colleges, for acceptance. Just to give you an idea of the heart of the student body, not the outliers. See if you fall in there. Oh boy, we'll do more of that next time. But if you want to try to start the other side of that, you can. We'll do the other side of that next time. Oh, do you want to say this? We will have a quiz Wednesday, 2122. Take Monday off. Monday's Labor Day. That's basically frequency distributions, histograms, relative frequency stuff. So that's what we're going to have a quiz on Wednesday. All right, guys. Have a good long weekend. Don't forget your IDs, please. I don't know what to do with those if you leave them with me.
I'm going to go to a different one.